first of all, government likes to spin. There's a theory they call consistency and justification.
Yeah.
Which is that every government would like to be seen as consistent. And so when I said, old school now, Obabia catch us the media, I before pa, they me worried be that. Me worried be that. And I before you say, no more you say, now 10 years, more years school, be a bonnet brow, Koshana, Nikro, Igoni, come on. Ukudin say, but we are going to have US now on the cry about charity crowd call that. So what they're doing is that they are justifying. They are trying to remain consistent.
We are
by justifying what they have done. It's just what many governments do. So they are trying to spin. They have run. They came into office promising everything.
Yeah.
Now they have realized that even the ones that they came to meet, they have destroyed it. So what then do you say? You have to blame someone. In order to remain consistent, you have to justify something. And the justification they are giving is that there is Ukraine war. If you look, and then when you ask them, what is your track record? Look, in 2018, we had the best record. But 2018 was just an offshoot of 2017 and 2016. 2017 and 2018. At that time, the legacy that NDC had left for them, which is the IMF program and the IMF program,
public
really,
funds are no more
everything was running. So you couldn't have achieved that record in 2017 because you just took office in 2017.
Yeah.
So between 2017 and 2018 is the one they tout as their best record. We all know how they got that best record. So one would have expected from 2020 coming is when the programs that you have put in place, is beginning to yield fruits. Also, nothing. So this is COVID.
Because Anitalawa just sending a message. You say, don't forget the almighty COVID.
COVID is the reason. And after COVID, Ukraine war. But you see, if you want to assess how, let's say, Ukraine war will affect Ghana, first of all, you have to look at the economic relationship between Russia and Ghana and between Ghana and Ukraine. The biggest, and I hear the top fertilizer there, but you see, I don't know, but I hate people look into my face and tell me rubbish. It's what I hate. So there are global records of what you import from Russia and what Russia exports. Yes, there's record, there's value, there's everything to it. Ghana, our biggest transaction with Ukraine, I think, is manganese.
Yeah.
So what happened to manganese? Okay, and what is the value of that export? For which reason, if even it is not happening again, your whole economy has collapsed. It's just ridiculous. What is the balance of trade between Russia and Ghana? What is it? So much so that a problem with Russia now, your economy is completely bankrupt. So it's just so when you look at them talk like that, you realize that they don't have a sense of direction. They've lost their way. Okay, so many of the things they say, COVID, my brother, if this government was sensible, and I use it advisably, if this government was sensible, they had the best opportunity during COVID to turn the whole nation around. The amount of money I tell you, the amount of money that entered the economy, and the fact that that money was not money we were using to export things, import things. It was not things we're changing into dollar and will affect our currency. But that was money that was supposed to be spent in the economy. You realize that they missed a big, but what happened? They were just blowing the money. And when they say bring evidence, they can come and ask me to bring the evidence and see what will happen in this country. You see, we all understand there's crisis. And some of us try to be a little bit more considerate because people are angry. Okay? But when you listen to these people, when you listen to the government people, when you talk, they bring evidence. Okay, if they really want evidence, I can challenge them to a debate. I can challenge them to a debate and say, you want evidence of corruption in COVID? Okay,
but
give me a
they will never do
That's
it.
why I'm saying that they are lying.
Yeah, you know.
So they are justifying the fact that they've misapplied the money, they've blown the money, they've blown their chances. The economy has completely collapsed, and they are blaming it on COVID. If you look at COVID, I'm saying all of us, government, everybody, come one platform and tell me that COVID. I heard the president say it yesterday that everything that was done in COVID was above board. I pity him. I pity the president because it's either he does not know what is going on in his government, or he is just throwing dust into the eyes of the public. That's what I'm saying. He's just either throwing dust or he does not know what is going on in the government. So there are some people you can tell them this. You can tell that Ukraine is the cause of your problems. But COVID, free SHS, if you look at the corruption that is going on there, no amount of IMF bailout will solve our problems. The amount of corruption in this system, in the government at the moment, whatever money is like you're fetching water in a basket. Odi kentenya konsu. Odi nsuo no guma o maswa. True. First of all, the government is bloated. So you're having to throw IMF money inside the government that needs so much money to survive on its own. Second, the architecture of corruption that exists in the government is so serious that no amount of money, if you don't stop that kind of bleeding, whatever money you put in, whether it's from World Bank grant or Japanese grant or IMF bailout or whatever it is, when you put it in that basket, that liquid basket, so I look at them and I laugh. You have a system where they're saying, look, pensioners, you've worked your life. Some people have worked in public sector 40 years. Okay? For those who started working in public service early, 40 years. Everything that you have saved, we can't pay. And you say, I'll pay in 2028. Most times, you and I know. What is the how long do people live in Ghana? 65, 70, they are gone. Okay? And the retirement age is 60. So you just imagine 2028. If you retired at 60 and your pension is going to be paid in 2028, they will pay it to your children. I don't know who will be alive by then to collect. Like you are going to die before the time. You're going to die before the time. A lot of the people survive on this for their medicals, so they know, and you know, you and I know, who do from 45, 50, 60 I say engineer a week. So most times there's a lot of medical bills, but they know that, okay, at the end of every month, I know I'll get this amount. If I have diabetes, I know the medications I need to buy. I know that I need to take care of these small things. Food, health, all of those things. And so they've planned their life that way after retirement. So when you wake up and you say, the economy has collapsed because Russia has gone to war and COVID came. It's not my fault. So therefore, your pension, I'm going to give you a haircut. Take it or leave it. You see, when you behave like that, it's like, and I hear nobody knew COVID will come. One of the arguments they have, nobody knew. And that's why I'm telling you that these people, they don't know what they are doing.
But no. Yes, of course.
Nobody knew that, okay, we had a plan, but COVID came to disrupt it. That's the president, that's the vice president, that's the finance minister, that's everybody's talking point. Is that not it? You see, and that's why I'm saying that it's either they don't know what they are doing.
But Anita Lawal says, but IMF even said it, that yes, COVID, Ukraine war has contributed to the current situation.
No, you see, but IMF is talking in terms of the global impact. But inside the global impact, there's a ratio of how much Ghana's economy is completely, in my opinion, is very disconnected to the. We are just a buying. We buy. All we do is we don't export much. So, if, for example, we were doing a lot of exports to America, China, all of those countries, Ukraine, Russia, and you realize that because of COVID, we could not export, then you can say that, well, COVID has hurt us. Ukraine war has hurt us, right? But our economy is more of a consumption economy. We take money and buy from China. And for the first time, China was closed. So whatever you needed to buy it locally. So all the money that should have gone to China is in Ghana. All the money that the government was giving to spend, they spent it in this economy. Where did it go? Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So yes, globally, COVID might have had an impact on a lot of economies. But those are the economies that are doing things like export. So you're dependent on export, and now there's no export. For that reason, your economy is crumbling. But what is Ghana's export? What do we export? So much so that if we were not exporting within the COVID period, we say our economy has collapsed to the extent that we cannot pay. Look, this government knew before COVID that the economy was going to collapse.
Before 2020.
All this Japan deal and all of that were in preparation for the fact that if we didn't get money before this date, the economy was going to crash. So they were preparing. Unfortunately for them, the good people of Ghana changed parliament. If they had not changed parliament, by now, what was he looking for? 500 million, was it not it?
Yes.
Yeah, 500 million.
From the Japan deal.
For the Japan deal, he was looking for $500 million. He knew before COVID that he needed that money. Before election, they knew that the economy was in a tank. So, for me, you can say whatever you want. IMF can say, look, IMF, World Bank, go and see the COVID thing. It's just that Auditor General does general audit. He doesn't do specific audit. The corruption even among the World Bank people.
Breaking it down here, general auditing, specific auditing, what
For example, I can diagnose you that you have certain symptoms, okay? That the symptoms that you are having, I can conclude that is probably malaria. But a lab test,
okay, when
I draw your blood and I do a lab test, it can tell you that maybe you have COVID and it's not malaria. Okay, Auditor General will tell you that you collected 6 million from this guy and you said you were going to supply 200,000 face masks.
Yeah,
but you ended up supplying 100,000. So therefore 100,000 or 200,000 it has not been supplied.
Yeah.
Auditor General will not tell you that, for example, they awarded a contract to the minister's son, or they awarded it to this person, and they awarded, and that all these contracts that were awarded went to relatives and family members of A. That's not what Auditor General tells you. So, and that is where the corruption is. The corruption is not the balance sheet. I have a balance sheet. Once I have supplied the item, I can give you a receipt. Once I see a receipt, is what World Bank also does. They give you the project goes through an audit, and it's the same audit. I'm telling you the symptoms and diagnosis. Once you have your audit report, what was World Bank chasing the government for? They were chasing them for audit report. What is the audit report about? Is that you collected this amount of money, therefore give me an account of how you spent it. That's all it is. Audit account is more of income and expenditure, most of it. But on the corruption issue, that this is a government that came, you remember, the president actually used to give us a statistics of how much money he thinks he has saved because projects went into tender. Have you realize he has stopped? He did it for 2 years and he stopped. So, for example, how many of the contracts went through public tender? And they're going to tell you, there was lockdown.
But most of it was so sourcing.
There was lockdown. Even as of 2022, they were still awarding contract without tender.
Anyway, Chama mamim ko asai mamra sisi akwekwa na mekwa adwuma bi ono abo ns dogbe nogbe MP for assignment and a finance committee, defense and interior committee member of parliament. Chairman Akwaba.
Yo, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to your listeners.
Boko dear. Me who say bread ya wa bread pa o kasa radio so o fushi on crop for we kra na mete say o kasa omode 37 no na aka wo military for no no omode omo nyina asa ya ba
34
what me no omo hia omo ba wa hu omo
the way the whole thing happened and no ana CBS catching say by close of the evening, they will release them. I said, okay. So I was expecting, say, when they release them, I'll get the information. So this morning, I spoke with him, and then he told me that he has released them. But per my investigations, the way they were released could not make it possible for them to even come and meet anybody or to locate us. Or let me say, we were not able to locate them yet, but they are all in the community. So I asked that they come so that I'll meet them this evening. So this evening I'll be meeting all of them. Okay. But after this morning, I haven't seen them. I understand they just dropped them at the bridge and asked them to go home.
Okay, but so far, a free become it on Kasa around 12 midday. A Bepem Sabre, what mini a binomo akasa, like victims nimbi akasa, and what me attract you almost so we were.
Oh, yes, for the victim, most of them, yeah, I know where they are, we have spoken, and even the previous one, those who were released earlier, I met them and I spoke with them. And so for that one, everybody we know where they are, and we set up a table also for them to come and then register their names. And it's only the 34. I spoke with one or two, but I'm here to gather all of them and then address them once again.
But is it true, sir? Like families need to complain, say they can't find their loved ones.
Well, that was Ansah yesterday in the morning, and we were thinking, say those people might have been part of the 34 who were still under military custody. And so since they were released, I have not had that complaint as we speak now. I don't know. Nobody has complained to me yet that they haven't seen their loved ones.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. But Honorable Chechrimu, what really happened? Is it say Yenya Sojani Kumanwa Washington Kwano? Is it say a mob na attacking one? I say Onu be in a scuffle, and I say, what are you hearing? What is the issue?
Well, it's not a mob attack, and it cannot be mob. If it was to be mob attack, at least by this time would have gotten somebody to be arrested. I think one of them at least would have been arrested to give us further and better particulars. But unfortunately, what we are getting is it's like a scuffle between him and one or two people that happened, and we are still looking for the perpetrators. We are not finding them yet. So it was just an unfortunate incident. You know, for the past 6 years, we haven't recorded this kind of crime in Ashama community, but this one is just an isolated case that has befallen us and creating a lot of tension and animosity on the ground.
But more any idea say Nkrofokrono eti assignment, and I said they came from somewhere, and
well, for that one we don't know yet. All that we are aware of was police invited the purported girlfriend, allegedly a girlfriend, for interrogation. And what I have gathered from the police as we speak now, it was like the guy visited her, the lady, and then at that point in time he asked to go home, and then he left, and the lady also went to sleep. It's only to wake up in the morning to hear that the guy was murdered. And so we can't substantiate the fact where the people came from. That is the point here we are talking. That's why I'm saying that the way and manner the military entered into the community, to me, they have tempered with evidence, because if you were to be a criminal, or you were to be the one who might have committed a crime, and the way and manner the military entered, you would have absconded, you would have run away. And so they should have allowed the police to do their due diligence, proper investigation, and fish out the person. But unfortunately, as we speak now, we are still looking for the perpetrators.
Yeah. Chairman, say we are talking about compensation. And I heard you talking about it this afternoon. Yes, of course, unim sika potin say ebia yebemo bia 2,000 Ghana cedis or 3,000 Ghana cedis or 4,000 Ghana cedis or whatever. Then I heard you talking about or more pre-plano depending on the
level, the degree of injury.
Injury and almost behaviors. But yes, the situation, even the government is trying to defend what Gov did, because from all indications, you have a command from the top. The deputy defense minister too has been talking on radio and also making similar comments like, yes, I mean, it's an order. So obviously now the government as a whole taking responsibility, and it seems like they don't show any remorse. Now you are dealing with a whole government that they are not showing any remorse in this matter. So how do you demand compensation?
Yes, yesterday I met with the military high command, the defense minister, his deputy, and the defense and interior committee. Somewhere along the line, the interior minister also joined. And frankly speaking, they admitted that there were excesses. It means the defense minister also apologized on behalf of the army. And then even the CBS himself also acknowledged that there were excesses. They were not expecting what happened. So if that kind of admission that there were excesses is enough grounds for you to motivate those people or compensate those people who suffered those excesses. And so that's why the fact that they sanctioned it does not mean that the excesses should just be washed under the carpet. They have to look at it.
Okay, so the point is, even in your presence, they admitted that they sanctioned the operation.
In my presence, they admitted and they apologized to people of Ashaiman through me, and even the Committee of Defense and Interior. We were all there, and I mean, my chairman, everybody was there, where they admitted that there were excesses and they apologized. And so
then, Honorable, let me ask this quick question. What exactly did they ask them to come and do? What was the modus operandi of the operation? What is it?
According to them, they were looking for the criminals, the perpetrators who killed the soldier. So they were coming to arrest those people, to swoop and then arrest.
So with the common sense argument, so they asked them or instructed them to go to Ashaiman at dawn and start knocking at people's door looking for a murderer. Is that the instructions they gave them?
So those were the excesses. What they narrated yesterday, the instruction was that there's a place in Ashaiman which they claim, I don't know, as the MP, I don't even know, there's a place in Ashaiman called no-go area. And so they asked their men to go and ransack that place so that they could get the criminals who live there to the barracks. But unfortunately, according to what the CBS narrated yesterday, there were excesses. The excesses were fact that they go and knock at somebody's door, pull the person out, somebody will be going to market, somebody will be going to work, they ask the person to lie down, they will beat the person, drink dirty water, etc. Those are the excesses that they admitted to. And so you realize that even though they sanctioned it, they agreed with me and with the generality of Ghanaians that they have gone overboard.
So which means obviously they can identify those who went for that operation.
Exactly. So since they sanctioned,
so they know them. They have their service numbers with them.
Yes. They know
so
them.
which means they can punish them.
Yes, if they so wish, and they need to punish them. That we gave you a simple instruction, but you have gone beyond the directives we gave you. They should punish them, otherwise it will continue.
No, so in your presence, did you guys discuss anything about the Ghana Armed Forces hierarchy, punishing those who are involved in these excesses?
Yeah, so that is why I appealed to them yesterday that one, there are two things. We are demanding several things. One is to punish those people who perpetrated the crime on the innocent, residents of Ashaman, and two, the compensation aspect, and three, the first and foremost, this thing that I asked them to do, to go to Ashaman, gather all the victims, talk to them, reassure them about whatever transpired, and also apologize to them.
I am interested with the issues about punishment, because this kind of issues do happen. I think about 2-3 years ago, similar incident happened. I may be wrong. I stand to be corrected. But then, on several occasions, not even Ashaiman alone, we have separate incidents where the military have attacked, civilians, and at the end of the day, it's like, oh, we are doing our investigations. Now, with this issue, did they give you a promise that, yes, they are going to punish the people? Because in the first place, they have agreed that, yes, they gave out the instructions. They have agreed that, yes, there were excesses, which means somebody did something wrong. And that person needs to be punished. Did they give you any promise that, yes, they are going to punish the people?
That promise never came yet. What we decided on, they decided on yesterday, was to go to the scene, ascertain the fact, and also look at the degrees of injuries. We'll come back and say, but you see, it will be difficult for them to punish anybody because they sanctioned it. And so that is why we, the residents, and including myself as the MP, as I told them, I will provide leadership. It is only a constitutionally mandated institution that can enter into it and profess punishment thereon. And so that is why we are petitioning Shraj or even the law court to look into the matter. Because if you want to leave it for the military, I doubt if they will be able to punish any other person. They will be able to punish their own who have gone there since they sanctioned it. And so the best place we can go is the Shraj to also make some recommendations.
Anyway, I have a question in mind, and I don't think you stand in a better position to answer me. Because, look, we talk about civilians hiding criminals. So a civilian will just go and commit a crime, run back to wherever he lives. And the advice is that, look, just try and give the person out. And if we have a law enforcement agency like the Ghana military, and they have accepted that we gave the instructions, there were SSs, which means bonny. And if they cannot give out their own, I don't know the kind of society we are breeding. I don't know.
Exactly the case. You see, that's why we are all worried about it. You just cited some examples that it has happened in the past and nothing has been done. And so if you leave it with, look, we went to war, the Committee of Defense and Interior went to war. We came up with certain recommendations. We were able to ascertain the fact on the ground, and we came up. But when we asked the police to do that, you see the difference between the investigation they did, how they were able to shield their own people, and we were able to fish them out and tell Ghanaians that no, the fault came from the police. So I don't know whether it's institutional problem to be shielding their own, whatever it is. But this act is made. The fact remains that certain crimes were perpetrated. Innocent residents were molested and brutalized. And so whoever has done that, whoever even issued the command for those people to just enter into a community, begin to molest people, to also be brought to book one. And those people who did the act must also be brought to book. But whoever or whichever institution will do that, we will still pursue it to the latter to make sure that those perpetrators were brought to book.
Anyway, honorable. It's so sad, but then I mean, yeah, there's nothing much you can do. Let's see. So definitely, money. Your friend is victims to be shared this evening, right?
Yes, the 34. For the remaining, I've met them twice, and yesterday we also met again. So the 34 who were released yesterday night, I'm here to meet them.
Okay, all right. Okay,
yeah.
But I hope say the situation is calm. Everybody is okay.
Well, everybody is okay. The situation is calm now. Now, calm has returned to Ashaman, but that is not to say that people are still, or they are not living in fear. They are still living in fear, panic and fear. So people are also taking advantage of that situation by creating unnecessary fear and panic in the society.
Like what? Give me an example.
Oh, somebody can just, you see, you'll be in the community, then you see somebody running just on top speed that they are coming, not knowing nobody is coming. Then everybody will have to run into him. Everybody will have to run into him or their house. The motorbike will be passing and say, they are coming, you see people just running on the street. It's just, that is the mental torture they are going through.
That is bad. Anyway.
Isn't it funny?
Very funny, eh? Anyway. Almost but the same.
I was addressing the gathering that was 2 days, only 2 days ago. The same people, the victims, the 150 and other, victims. We were addressing them before we realized somebody ran past our area that they are coming. They nearly scattered the meeting for me.
Oh.
It's a serious matter.
Serious matter.
People started running out. That cannot be talking with the NC and other opinion leaders here. You think that military man will come here and start molesting you? Sit down, let's have our meeting.
It's not a joke anyway. All right.
It's not a joke. It's a serious matter.
Anyway, honorable. Yeah, that's it, bro. Yeah, that's the part. All right. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
that's it live on Accra 100.5. So, but back to a studio. Ray, I don't think you want to go back to these economic indications because I can see it's but this is the situation. In fact, it's one of our main topics. Then we will deal with the SCI, whether you feel, but as Sherman issues, and yet when even before this matter, my main farmer from Chikakra. So let's go back to Parliament in 2020 after a year elections. Almost swear in a year. Your friend is a MPs. Now time when almost to about speaker. Speaker time now, right? Yeah, to about speaker. That was 2021. Patch up me right 2021. And I'm to about speaker, right? Okay, so Yanko Parliament and here the same military for whatever reason.
It was just ridiculous. Now, nobody.
Attention, please. Everyone should sit down. The military will go away. Everyone should sit down. Everyone should sit down. All of you. Everyone down. Everyone down. Everyone should sit down. Take your seats. Everyone should take his seat or her seat.
Because Parliament with its powers, then one day for whatever reason, Ghana military decided to invade our Parliament. Force. Nothing. But I know when it comes to these issues, you understand it more than I do. And as Simon, here we come.
Bobie, I think so this is a very, very serious matter. And when I listen to the MP, I worry a little bit, to be honest with you. I worry a little bit. First of all, let's break the things down.
Okay.
A soldier who was not on duty. First of all, the killing of the soldier needs to be condemned.
Sure.
No matter what the reason is, nobody has the right, police, military or civilian, nobody has the right to take another person's life because either he has committed an offense against the state or against that individual. That is condemnable. And when you listen to the family of the soldier, you realize that this is somebody they have invested in for so long, and he's just at the prime of his life. So to have his life whisked away like that is really, really painful. And I am hoping that the killers will be found. I'm really, really praying so. I think the military has messed everything up, but I'm hoping that still the police can do some magic. But first of all, we have to unpack the issues. One, he's a soldier, all right, but he's also a citizen. Okay, so the same laws that the citizens benefit from are the same laws that he benefit from.
Okay.
Second, he was not on duty. Okay, he was not on any military assignment. So that also has to be understood. So therefore, if anything happened to him, he has to be treated as a citizen.
Okay.
The same laws that if, God forbid, any citizen was going somewhere and a misfortune like this happened to him, is the same process. There's no, under the law, there's no different law for military or police people if they are victims of crime. They are supposed to go through the same process.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that we don't know what happened. As we speak now, you hear bits and pieces. Was it a mob action? Was it 2 or 3 people?
MPC and mob action.
So no, I mean that's what he says. Okay. He even doesn't know that for a fact.
Yes.
So was it a mob that killed him? Was it an armed robbery that went wrong? Was it over a girlfriend boyfriend matter? Because you if you listen to the story, because it's very strange. Usually crimes always have a purpose. Okay, so you're looking at this guy who went out and just got killed. What's the reason? There must be a reason. And before you even begin to investigate this matter, you have to understand what could have been the motive. It's investigations 101. You want to understand the motive before you can unravel, because the motive will even tell you what scope you need to look at, what kind of people you need to look at, and what area you need to look at. That's one.
Because every crime biano uzumia because I could see the kind of people be
yes, and you can only know that by motive.
Yeah.
Okay. If it was a girlfriend boyfriend matter, you will now find, because if you hit somebody, in intelligence they say if you are fighting with someone or you attack someone,
yeah,
and let's say you overpower the person, but yet you take a hammer or you take a stone and hit till they call it crime of passion. So if it was that kind of, if it was a girlfriend boyfriend matter, you can now begin to narrow it down, probably a crime of passion. For that reason, you can now know the scope of suspects you need to deal with. So the military under the law are supposed to do 2 things: to defend our territorial boundaries and to help with internal security. The police is a law enforcement agency, so that if you break the law, the police will then be the right institution to deal with the fact that you've broken a collective law, and for that reason you need to be dealt with. That's one. So under what circumstance did the military first get involved in this matter? What naturally, if you understand the military system, will be that there would have been a report to his commanding officer, his unit commander. His unit commander would have communicated that to the military hierarchy, and the military hierarchy would have sat down and looked at the situation and decided that this is a decision they needed to take. So the commander that took that decision, that he needed to go into Ashaiman, would have obviously given certain instructions.
Like what?
What? Because first of all, the military is not responsible for investigating murder under the law.
Yes.
They are not.
Yes.
And secondly, they are not even trained to do that. The military is not trained to investigate murders. And in terms of legal jurisdiction, it's not even with the military.
But they are trained to gather intelligence.
The guys that went there were not military intelligence people.
Okay, agreed.
Okay, so therefore, this was not intelligence. This was an operation. And if you understand the military operations, they sit down and plan. This and this is what we are going to do. These are the resources that are available in terms of vehicles, whatever, manpower, whatever. And then this is the operational strategy. This is how you achieve what you're supposed to do in Ashama. So this talk about the fact that, it is rather the officers that went on the ground that had excesses is completely is nonsense, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
First of all, you have no business. The military had no business sending those soldiers, because we know how soldiers are trained. We know what their mindset is. If you want to investigate a crime of this nature, you need the cooperation of the community. There's no doubt about that. Anybody who has even a basic experience in intelligence and investigations will tell you that you will need someone to call you on the side and say, this guy. Mushaha. The military went there to antagonize and beat up the same community that they needed as their ally to conduct the investigation. Arrested everybody on site. Even if it was a military operation, this is a civilian issue. But even if it was a military operation, the military is governed by law. If there was even a war situation, war is governed by laws of armed conflict.
Okay.
And the law says very specifically. Let's even assume that because they were soldiers, they did not know that they had to conduct.
Mamema Oliver Vormawor Kwabena, so that the man for being say waba. Chairman Kwabena. No problem. Meetings. Issue. Okay. All right. Okay. Kwabena. Pacho.
So even if they don't know what the local law says, armed forces is governed by international law. Even if it was a war situation, the laws of armed conflict require that when there's war, you must make a differentiation between combatants and non-combatants.
Okay.
So you don't go to war and just shoot missile into residential areas. Those are not military targets. If you do that, you will be charged under the law. Okay? And not just that. If you are a commander and you command troops in a war situation, and you give a command that ends up with your troops shooting missiles against non-combatants, shooting missiles against non-military targets, there is provision under the law for you, the commander himself, to be held responsible for the actions of your officers.
And Kasemen Kamepe Busa MP ni say no more interact here, no. Those various groups commanders, no. Anyway.
So therefore, the military command bears responsibility for the actions of the officers that went on the ground. So this talk about they are trying to now have scapegoats. It was they who committed excesses. We'll come to the excesses. So even in war, if I was a combatant, if I was a soldier in war, and you captured me, okay, there are rules and regulations how a prisoner of war has to be treated. Let's agree, let's even assume they don't know the laws, they don't know the local laws, and they went there without knowing that this is a law enforcement issue. They, as soldiers, should know this. They've been going for peacekeeping. The armed forces have been going for peacekeeping. It is against the law. No. And secondly, these were unarmed civilians. These civilians that they tortured arrested indiscriminate. I've already told you that even in war, you remember, you know what they call precision guided weapons. So you don't go to war and just take any bomb. There's one we call scatter bomb. You just throw the bomb. It has no target. It has nothing. It just scatters and kill everybody on site. You will be held responsible under international law. So if you went to Ashaiman and you were arresting everybody on site, and you were beating and violating the rights of everybody on site, and then you come back and say, well, there were excesses. Yes, there were excesses, but they were criminal excesses. Okay? There were excesses, but these excesses were criminal. And you see, you go and cause harm to the society. Okay? The same harm is what led to the death. The same harm is what led to the death of this soldier. And under the law, nobody is allowed to cause harm to a fellow citizen. So those harms, we can also say, were excessive harm. The harm that the civilians used that led to the death of this soldier were excessive harm. That is what led to the death of the soldier. If the military went into Ashaiman and also ended up causing excessive harm to the citizens, you call that one excesses, and you call the murder of the officer, you call the excesses that led to the murder of the officer murder. The death of the officer murder.
Because it's the same force.
Harm. Yes.
The same force.
It's actually harm. In intelligence, it's called harm. So I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the military, and I see that already they are trying to cover up. They are trying to have scapegoats. But the commander who gave that instruction is criminally liable for everything that happens. First of all, they have to prove that they were on the right law in doing what they did in Ashaiman. Okay? You cannot say that I gave the order to people. When you give order to soldiers, you meet them. You tell them the operational methods. When they went there, you had the police, they had guns.
Yes.
Somebody organized the logistics for this operation.
Yes.
And determined that they needed guns. Okay? If the armed forces had gone there to say, look, the police is conducting an investigation into this murder. We are here to provide security, to make sure that things are done well. What the armed forces have done, they have destroyed the investigation. I can tell you that. Look, last week, just yesterday, I got information from National Security. They send this text around.
Yeah. You see something, say something.
You see something, say something.
Yeah.
Combating of terrorism is a big function of armed forces all around the world. And you have the military and the police on your side for several months. They run this campaign. When you see something, say something. Which is to say that communities always are your first point of call when you want to identify crime or terrorism. Yet, you went to the community and did not see the community as your ally.
As your partner.
As your partner. Rather, you went to brutalize everybody on site. That indiscriminate act of arresting and beating everybody, even under international law, is not acceptable. So I'm looking at this whole operation, and I'm looking at the leg on which the armed forces is even defending this action. I've heard a deputy minister say, "Well, we did it."
Yes. I was shocked.
I don't know his background, so maybe I will keep quiet over that. But it obviously means that he does not know what he's talking about. Anybody who admits that we sanctioned this operation, that we sent military people to go and investigate murder without any background in homicide investigations, without any intelligence of where to look and who to cooperate with, does not know what he's talking about. We have lived in this country, just to sum up a little bit. So I've made the point first that the armed forces have dirtied their hand. They say he who seeks justice must come with clean hands. Yeah. You've got to cause harm in pursuit of a harm that led to the death of another soldier. You've messed things up. You've antagonized the society, the community that would have been your best ally in unraveling this case. But the armed forces has this organizational pathology that allows them. I heard that they don't know. Every time there's a case like that, they try to cover up. It's what we call organizational pathology, where they feel like there's a way of thinking that when your guy is in trouble, you need to cover up for him. It's also part of military training that when you go to war and someone is shot, you don't leave him behind. Okay, you carry him, the person along. So it's a thinking the armed forces have, every soldier has, but it is more of a organizational pathology where they begin to cover up. They extend that to mean covering up for their sins, and you see, it's painful. When I used to write, we used to cover the armed forces from the days of 64 Infantry Regiment. Where they say they will arrest someone and shave them and they will arrest this. But you see, what is shocking to me is that it looks like we as a society, we don't learn. You remember these people in office? MPP.
Yes.
You remember the story about how they used to bastardize Jerry Rawlings, that even in the PNDC era, soldiers used to go to Makola and strip women naked, and how that was undemocratic, how that was unacceptable, how people needed to be punished for even those offenses.
Yes,
you realize that.
Yes,
you remember the story about Selassie Gentoo?
Yes, Selassie.
That his hair.
However,
I don't know where he is, but the big deal they made about the fact that in a constitutional era, you don't allow soldiers to get involved in matters that are of civilian nature, and then shave his head. That's all they did to Selassie Gentoo. I'm not endorsing that. I actually was one of the people who thought it was not cool that they shave his head. How many years down the line? Okay, how many years down the line we are having soldiers now go to a community and look, if you look at the video, some of it, they put them in dirty water, they throw them in the water, they use their boots. If you see the back, there are imprints of military boots at the back. They're using sticks, they're using metal, they're beating, torturing people. You cannot be allowed, no civilized institution, and it means that over 30 years we have learned nothing. And the people who were standing on the high horses complaining about these military abuses are now the ones justifying it. We just talked about consistency and justification a few minutes ago. So when you look at this situation, you realize that this country is doomed. Everything that goes wrong, either we keep quiet, we say nothing. I've heard the MP talking about compensation. Compensation for what? These people have committed a crime. The crime has not even been investigated yet. Because you see, compensation is based on the fact that there's a fact finding. And that based on the gravity of your offenses, compensation I would say, if you violate my right in this manner, going to jail for it is compensatory enough. But when you hear compensation, they are talking about monetary compensation. You have not even identified the officers who are responsible for this. There seems to be this thinking, right, that excesses by police and military people
security agency
cannot be investigated. Give it to me. Give it to me. Listen, there are rules that underpin military operations. Okay, there are rules. Yeah. If you're a policeman in Ejura and you have a gun, okay, there are rules and regulations that underpin the use of the gun and the context under which you use the gun. You don't go and shoot at unarmed protesters, okay, who are only agitating for their right. You might decide that right is not good for you, or you don't agree with it based on where you stand as a police officer. But there are rules on at what point
compensation.
I'm saying that's all that happens. That money comes from you and I. That money, the same community that has been harmed, the same society pays for the compensation. Monkey business.
Monkey business. I'll come back to you. A quick one from Maria Adams is under a supposed human rights lawyer. It's sad. Bozet Kwesi is here. We have Kwesi Foley. It is the same patapa, and it's very unfortunate. All right, so Kofi Selassie says, I missed listening to Raymond on Radio Go during election forensic. and definitely hoping 2024 you best share review. But remember back to lawyer Vormawor, fix the country. Who free assignment? What is happening? How is the atmosphere? And then of course, assignment.
I say, my main chair, Raymond, and so now what you say me for but I didn't want to come because I'm quite interested in so archives of a lot of the National Reconciliation Commission for videos, and I think it's important in this conversation. Say, kai. Nyamanka ye fair mu as a nation ka said never again. I say ye bu ye ni guso. Now nim me ko share me ko ashama ko share yi nkrofo mu ye hu yi ansam yi hu adwuma. Ene mu di nkomo past 2 days ye volunteers e wa ashama ni nkrofo twetwe nkomo Sundays ye share community no. The person ye ne say person ye real fact finding. I see it me try nkrofo why affected no mo bro 1,000. It would be a nyakwan a canasem need me document this event because as some is a nyakwa. But bedro military no moko ashama no. As at 7th March, the day before Meko community no. Never be a 70 and military crane. Omoko ko police for bi e wo ashama. No mo bi some sense ade na cry him fam potin e hie. Ye kire mo community no mo bin say be 18 at police station division nechi. And I'm more shit because the Honda person go attacking Crawford. It's no more name baby or more compo. If they say the Omoquaco no intelligence lens or moboa. Gentleman, na ye can no. Watching in Quansebi, yapa. On yet a yimpuno on your based in Accra. Sunya no war. Moba cra. So mobile be program. Or no about trumpet. No, trumpet noble. Or Mobacra no select Quanso coffee. If you were Nufi. We no fear no call about Abayo ho. Into Abayo no no she according to information. I said Abayo no one pena. Ye free boy no ba ho. Only no into Kwana say the chire mo so ye in the far ba first. Anko de bo bema no. Asem see na police for kofa girl no. Girl no go to police station. Ye be say no mu asem. In the police for no can no
girl no police for.
Girl no police for her. Another thing, so no, and now I'm matching IGP Kwashama at 4 a.m. Omni police intelligence for Koho. No ye witnesses to Kwane see no. Ya saw more cry. I be someone wants some more pay, maybe a boy in the war. This information, the military don't have that information. The Diomko ye Washama, the Mubisa is a community ben assembly see. Omoko hono, me call fire police for barracks nibi moho. Na omu barracks ni mpako bunkro for. Police for now more returning from 19 being stopping almost a higher barracks. So they don't even know what they were going to do. And the intelligence be any guided them koye no. The money say community we na hana de ni see them ko pake. Omo mo wax ni see one to go community nim. Just say obi adan say when me upro ni ntimi bia ni ewiri wo ni bubu mu dan no ni atwemu afikata so ni bubu mu ni adimu LFM ni got mu so yese mu numbi. So there was the real purpose of the Mokoye and say you could bro for can you say yes, you need to me. Into people now can say the intelligence because you more. The intelligence when I do you want to 184. Uwe answer na dear Bessie, no wage 72. Now the next day wage 30. Now the wage and also for him. No intelligence when I do you juma. I'm a combine send me by and I gonna for can was some pay. Omoko release statement say yakochi we I won't crawl for her. Moko sem kwa jiwi. Udi yi kofa cantonment kra, ngofo cocaine kra be sabe fie nya bini. Na we na wo so akwa yesa no uji wo wan ho. No we jan ngofo man ko. Because crime na wo so wo akọ no. Nda ide na wo jan ngofo no so nko fie. Ndi we na aka ho no de ye den. Asem wo ho asem si aya ye nyanto wase ne. Mama efe ni agro. Mama efe ni agro kra. Mama entra ba bi nkasa shama de krono wo ho. Se wo ho ti akobru bia ye. Moti hono impanyifo wo mu papa me call ho customs impanyifo wo retired officers wo immigration fo wo te say nkofo a mo nimdie fo wo na be me ko pake mo work ne kra no ayi lawyer gi man kuma de fie nim na me ko pake mo work lawyer niti community nim enye say basa fo bi na je say ye call bi get to because so nkofo bi say ne yenye de epe ne epe be mfa Baby, asem no see ye no any fie potie see ye na krakasakra no so jafo ni nim fie potie asem no see ye
really
yes omo ko baby ana no mo so obi na mo so kete so ye bo ni so ye say unim imoro na uko gramfo community mu imoro de so be the imoro na je say o wi na je say ububia na ojebi na wafa bi na enu na ani hwehin. So this is a real thing I see, and it is important say benya to wase NGOs wo krom hin na betimi asom nsem need me a proper fight finding a documenting asema esi so that the real scale of the problem in na betimi when you compensation system say betimi for the purposes of recording say that chesemunti we will be able to tell the story better because they see what the nchere obo ase yanya wo hwe say ebu eni go so ne be fire why you can say how many people were affected by the omo ye enim that na yenye see human rights for they be almost sorry kokoti na makoti Geneva e ko human rights report nso bia nko ye field fact find the hu the esi wo ekroma na democracy ben yetim. So these things no are very important. Community ye ko mu no ko fududu na ade na affect mu no kan ntimi nye sika enko hospital ntimi en some hu yare Ghana Health Service when then coordination aye say ye bon nkofo hu ban aye de so doctor fo kwakwo hwe nkofo wo communities ni dudu na ko police station na ayi police medical form ayi be ba omo no mpo no police for ni bi wo jere se mo engo se hwe na ye na police for grab bi ka ho kra na ye bu omo na mo peden then na we be yenya ma mo nko
ka sa akere mo
e bi ka sa akere mo ayi ya report ba ko ka akere me ayi officer bi Sergeant Betty awo Achaman police station ho ko so ojijiska so obema nkrofo answer obema nkrofo forms in some way see nya I remember na fa say bia e bi no we fa ho agigi nkrofo ho sika bi edi anaso mo mu nipa some ato omo no. These are real important issues see. So see na we na see no yen adwuma any volunteers na ye ba together the laptops actually show nsem the phones they crow mo say they can really document obi an story ni nkrofo bet na ho ni e be record no obi aka na numa se bako so we can have a real record e bet me gina so e dia kasa say ka say ye be ko akoye report say a human rights committee or UN and I say Shiraj Mpoa we have to have a basis I didn't go for in some beko na me share MP ni opinion leaders no press conference no we Saturday na me na be makam I made a letter say call on behalf of the clients and achom and me share I mean maybe it's a tactic to calm Crawford down say you promise compensation any na me share dinam say na say me yen baby a indi baby esi na obi e kan sorry say be mamuska wonya abotre be mamuska na no menti ase wo e bia na e de calm Crawford down me dem minim but we need to be able to assess the situation for ourselves see make us no Crawford be feel ye bubu dan ni wanim ube pie fi kra na ye den because ye bu fi eni ato ho enye se obi a gated community mu ebi no ye compound house ebi no obi atimi fam odimi fa obi fi kra ko highway nti no che se ye bu ni punu na no a je se obi tena fi na no enye obi a na wo ska kwa replacing the door nsem no door so wo nti media the most important thing is em de se mu se mu aso asem no mu amoka because ebi no munya ya aka etwem ni apra aheketa ase na che say ye koyenim debi ese ye to ye boase ni document ni ka asem ensem o esi no because ya hwe here ebekon it won't stop here the last 3 years simple incidents esi buru 10 because it is not stopping because ye ntwu bi aso e wo ho so I am in here ken nyama esi in the criminal because the gentleman at the time the incident happened had gotten an excuse. He was on a private visit. He's as all intents and purposes, he was a citizen. Police for Nash, because you see, 4 a.m. IGP was as a chairman. We've been police intelligence people. Yes, I arrested eyewitnesses. We are more, some got more information because some baby are not gentlemen.
But only baby a yam in one wakakra. Say, I'm matching an IGP and the intelligence team quiet because men know, as I see. Friday and Ajua Adechi Saturday Mebwa.
Yeah.
It's around 3 a.m. Me dawo be 4:30. How much no one will be sending picture no mama. I didn't see ya no be sending picture no mama. Enipakwano works with West African Security Agency B. So he sent me the picture.
Yeah.
Me tell you, because this kind of stories you need to be careful.
Yeah.
Me tell Saturday me ko portals, me ko social media me hu hwe ntimi so anka. Sunday, still that me monitor. And nipa no or sending me picture no I say Bobie ade we asi ashama anadwo they me sending ya I see na me hwe picture no de so e wo me phone so and na me hwe din na me ye enti Monday which means Saturday Sunday na IGP omonte.
So as far as I know, no investigation almost starting for about Abayo and so. In the Bayana, they near Sony Mudada. Saturday now, how much? The next day, yes, how much? I did because girl, no friend, no interview, no or no claim is on the no other or sorry, answer no TSM no. But it's only after Muche Chemun say, the name one at the no easy. But no, it is true that information are providing it me or more witnesses to the incident. No, as part of this. My name say a lot of the, I mean, mind you, the time I didn't see so no, we are going into the Independence weekend. A lot of police resources have been diverted to go and share your Mampenye March Pass or the clue and other things. So maybe that affected the speed with which it may pick up suspects. But investigating the pray to gather information to be able to pick people up. At the very least, an arrest had been made in connection with it, and a critical witness had been picked up. So, military can say at any point, the Omukoye, based on some superior intelligence on Mobua. Our intelligence natural would then. Our intelligence I want to share with the police for the police to act. And that's only communicating on intelligence phone with the Fako baby. The whole purpose was to go and instill fear in people. The defense minister can say people to respect the uniform. So the idea is say you go bring for and then the instilling respect. No, there's a difference between fear and respect. The first will be thrown just obu. You know, so conversation in the where there's a lot about it that we still need to talk about and deal with. And I hope that as a nation, no, we have the temerity and we have the patience and even the forward thinking said this is something that we need to treat seriously and deal with it. So.
Now a bit I'm out for bed 3-4 now send a message that they believe say those who went there are the MPP vigilantes.
In the media, the truth is that our security sector has been very politicized. The individuals who were sent there and whatever command they were given to go there, no there, I can't speculate about their political affiliations. But A+ can be. Obisa senti soldier for no more hono. I don't want no munti a shama hobiana. And as I'm soldier for no money busian for. So people even in the military have people who are affected by this incident. At least for the police, maybe I could be a police for no have been very, very good to me. Because so in terms of providing information and support and whatever it is in the they have been generous with it. A lot of them are disappointed and say hierarchy have not come out and clearly police soldier for no. Now, as far as they are concerned, because a lot of the people know the calls were going to the police officers. No. They have taken an institutional decision as a military for no year. Immediately they don't go and confront them.
Okay.
But at the very least, they need to be able to develop protocols which goes there not to confront and engage them, but to tell them to stand down. At least give the command on the Commonwealth of Time, telling them to stand down. Whatever they do with that command, leave it. You're not supposed to go and engage them in open warfare. But at the very least, you have the duty to protect civilians. The same way, me, if I'm representing the community and the people involved, police for your movie. Because you were aware of the complaints. And you have a duty under law to intervene, irrespective of who the perpetrator is. The manner of your intervention is not so you're going to engage them in open warfare. But you have a responsibility to tell them to stand down. That is your job. This is your area of domain. Police need be any who deploy police forces say, the military will not watch you do that. And they say, so all these things show say the military no move police for and the police institution as a whole. Because police for no can never go and do this in there. And then you're not going to send your police for military for share. You have a police for they are all trained. They all trained with firearm. And that's what be a crew. Because the fact that an institution is looking at you in a particular way, no, and say they cannot engage you in fire. In open warfare. Let's be clear on that. If they're not doing it, they are not doing it because they don't want to escalate the situation and they want to engage in a situation which will worsen the matter. Now, police for more soldier for that. Now, civilians grab soldier for. So how much more? So this is not about you will pitting one institution against the other. Just say we were one day saying Bakubi. It's only about maturity and professionalism, which will characterize whether or not one, looking at the situation, decides to accord the other way. Sorry, buobe mano, and decide say we will engage them otherwise. But let it never be say as a police if also no, I don't think that's the right approach. And that's
community. Do you see, sir? They want revenge, like any military man is safe walking around a shaman, living his life and all that.
Listen, the overwhelming response I get from the community is trauma. Maybe na metie honest honorable Nogbe conversation on in the can. And also be back can say be a yomo ba na go fu dwane. That's trauma speaking. The fear of this thing and what the trauma, people were asleep on their beds. I had drag you more out. Or people say, oh no, I am robbers.
Really?
Yes. So these people are traumatized by the experience. Just say, they are still expectant. Say somebody will make a BBA, which would give Serbia the atu we recognize the gravity of the atu. There's a Mekong community people were coming from all other places, Tulakuni, other places, to come and show me their injuries and what has happened to them. So people want to be heard and feel say they will recognize Serbia or how to me people want to hear that. That's the overwhelming sentiment I made here. Yes, nobody's talking about revenge. People know that the military has done something wrong and they want say you never recognize it's a wrong.
Kweku on Facebook says we have stupid, fool, useless soldiers and police in Ghana. When the citizens are killed, attacked, no action. When one stupid, foolish, idiot soldier man is killed, then you have them going on rampage. But the point is whether a military man or a civilian, I mean, we have one life. And that is what we need. We need to protect the military because Absolutely. We need them. And the military also needs to protect us because we need them. Ray, back to you.
Bobie, just on a quick point about when the military is having an operation, whether a policeman can go and tell them to stand down.
Yeah.
The way the armed forces work, the military works is different. They have a central command system. The police have a decentralized command system. So you can have a divisional police, district police. Yeah. And so therefore it's easy for that to happen within the military, within the police circles. But in the armed forces, he takes a central command. So and the military is not decentralized. So if he's in a shaman, he is coming on command from the center. So there's nobody like the district military command officer that maybe you can talk to resolve something in a locality. When they get their command.
But I'm going to be an movie educated. Obviously, they have troop leaders.
No, what I'm saying is that they take command. You have a command from
the top
so even you go to a shaman and do ABCD.
Okay, Matthias,
and they will never take because the responsibility is on you.
Because even leader no leader also command from the top.
Yes.
Matthias.
Yes. Right, so that's going to be difficult. The other issue that I think we should look at, for me, is the issue of those who were arrested, brutalized and arrested and taken to Bema
for 3 days,
and then they are released. First of all, under the rules, you cannot use any of those interrogations. Okay, when you arrest somebody without a proper warrant, and you brutalize him, torture him, let him drink warm water, take him through stress, then you go and interrogate him and say, yeah, he confessed. He confessed that he was the one. People under stress confess to a lot of things that are not true. So that's why I'm saying that for the armed forces, they are so in the wrong. And it is very dangerous that we are sitting here and almost talking about the conclusion of something that has not even started yet. What the armed forces has done, in my opinion, look, armed forces, and we always say, and I was talking to you about organizational or institutional pathologies, right? There is this mindset that the military is more professional. There is this mindset that the population and the civilians fear the military most. And so, therefore, anytime there is anything that it entails the use of force, they bring in the military. So Galamsey,
military.
they bring in the military. When there is demonstration and is a very serious one, they bring in the military. And not
Parliament.
That, yes, they bring in the military. You see, and that mindset is not just at the organizational level. Now it's even at the governmental level, where if you look at Armed Forces budget, okay, Armed Forces, how many soldiers do we? How many? The Ghana Armed Forces, I think now, as at 2020, if I'm not mistaken, the strength, the military strength is about 15,000.
Oh,
15,000. I think every year since the president came into office, every year I think he recruits 500 people. So if you look at the strength and the amount of budget that we give the armed forces, and you look at the number of police people nationwide and the budget they get, you can understand why every time there's a problem, they think that the military is more resourced. Okay? You think that the military is more resourced. So you have a situation where the military has gone there under a false command and under a wrong command, have gone there to perpetrate violence against citizens and violated their rights and traumatized the society, and left the investigation done. And their thinking is that they will leave.
Okay, you are right. Around 16,000.
Around 16,000. When the president took office, I think the past 6 years, almost every year, he recruits 500 people into the armed forces.
You are right.
Yes. So this is only 15,000 soldiers we have, okay, and they are scattered between Air Force, Navy, and infantry. But look at their budget. And me, Bobie, I studied intelligence. I studied national security. I feel like Africans focus on. You've seen the war in Ukraine, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the military strength of Russia, and they are still struggling because security and intelligence have changed. People are buying delivery drones and putting grenade on it, and you are sitting down. We are still sitting here building army of tanks. You go and look at their budget. They are buying tanks, armored personnel carriers, which somebody will buy a drone and drop on it and it will scatter. People are building. The US is building cyber command as a unit. Complete unit. They don't throw guns. They don't have ammunition, but they can do more. So we are sitting here and we are spending so much on the armed forces, and they say to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
We can't throw this amount of money, and that money in millions is coming from the same Ashaman people. You, me, the Ashaman people. We throw that millions and millions of dollars into the armed forces. When was the last time we went to war? I get it that you build your army before war. You don't build an army during war. But I'm saying that we can't give that level of resources to the armed forces, hoping that we will have a professional armed forces or develop a professional military. And then they go around doing things like this. And you have a defense minister that comes and beat his chest and say, yes, people must respect the uniform. Respect, they say, is earned. You don't get respect by breaking the law. You don't get respect by violating the rights of citizens. You don't get respect by scuttling investigations. You don't earn respect that way. If the military, and I will tell you this, when Kufuor was in power, His Excellency President Kufuor was in power, they had come on the back of all the criticisms against NDC. Jantua was having haircut, blah, blah. So they instituted what they call military-civilian relations.
Oh, okay.
And then they take kids to go to the military and began to have military and civilian dialogue and exchange. Just so that the military can understand the population and the population can understand the military. What you're having now, and that continued. That continued during Professor Mills'
era.
Mr. Mohammed's, His Excellency Mohammed's tenure. So what happened that all of a sudden, when there is any little issue in the in town, they have now. You even see even ordinary operatives are wearing hoodies Okay? When they go on operation and they are wearing hoods. Double.
Debbie. Oh, this guy.
Look, if you look,
they were retired now.
No, I never see for it. The other one. I'm going to call commission name, a short commission name. No.
No, can double.
And double was under instructions. The police guy.
Okay, I don't remember.
No, kind of.
Oh,
but you see, Bobie,
the Azugu na this hood for no cause Samanka a gold robbery operation.
But listen, police officers, law enforcement officers. Let me ask you a question. If the police went to a community where everybody was in hoodies, covered his face, and they are going to do investigations, imagine how that will work. You see, I have this feeling that people have this. There's this growing sense of the use of force, but even the use of force in security is underpinned by rules and regulations. That the state is nothing.
Well, to end it, I'm out for Busasa. Your tactics are MPP abandoning. It seems like Ghanaians and the opposition parties, CPP, whatever, in face of using the military on the people, they are too quiet.
Well, you can say that. You can actually say that, and that would be a very valid argument, because I cannot come to terms with the fact that we are having elections, right? Very civilian exercise. What happened? What did the security people have in mind prior to going? Because you see, you can never predict that there is going to be this violence at this place. Mm-hmm. You can never predict.
But
but then, ahead of going to the operation, they had decided that they will cover their face before they go there. It tells you that there was a premeditation, that something needed to be done, and we didn't want these faces known and everything attributed. It's simple common logic. So you realize that it's playing out, and when you feed your dog in the house, when you start feeding him flesh, you will always remember that one day it will eat you. It will eat somebody up.
Oliver, now a honey ababa drew. It seems like anything I buy a person the biano or mu use military.
Very docile society.
Yeah, bibia person the biano or mu use military. Mekai ada omo anajo omo echi mini say enkrofo buy no. The first statement was that you do a barracks. And I asked them, how do you make a barracks there? But so own barracks near any do cathedral site. That is where we can discipline you. So it seems like a Kufado is that military when you when soja tareda, but what one I say uncle soja. And that I don't know what is happening.
Yes, me very feel simple. Okay, na bakai me say soja for were involved in my my arrest. I had completely forgotten about that.
A military that pick you.
Yeah, there were military people who picked me up were plain clothes, which I assumed were BNI for. But there were military people who were the ones who were the guards.
The fact that he is struggling to even know where they came from, who was involved.
No,
it's a big
there's
issue.
No identification of nothing.
It's a big issue. Bobie,
you know,
the same thing on my farm. You can identify them. Some riff-raff boys. You can identify.
If tomorrow somebody shows up in, you see, people do what we call
No.
How crime works is that there's what they call copycat crimes. Okay.
Yeah.
So if today I read in the news that Vormawor was picked up, and the people who went there didn't have to identify themselves, but they still managed to pick him up. If I hear from you, Bobie, that you got picked up at dawn, but the people who arrested you, you didn't know who they were. They say a criminal is always at least above average intelligence. So he now knows. First, they wear hoodie. Okay, I can wear one. I can show up in your house, say I'm looking for you. I don't have to identify myself.
And they say the Omo no. That's how
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's how they are using the boys. Oh, wow, say hood, no maba.
That's a journalist with Zoya Bubedu. Omuko City FM. Do a hooded people who went there.
Yeah, that's a typical example.
I mean, my filing against the National Security Minister. No, one of the issues then was they should show us their standard operating manual, which determines that people need to be hooded.
No, that they can show you, but they should show you the basis.
So they can bring that up.
They should.
I'm not bringing about that. We challenge the constitutionality of having a manual that guys that civilian arrest the person will not identify.
All right, but they have a right to also
and then
challenge
they refused it for 2 years. They refused to bring it. I find it National Security Minister in respect of that. But on the general deployment of the military into this thing, even in terms of so many for. Electricity bill, cry the soldier for the this has become so routine. The flippancy with which you be sorry, I don't afraid soldier for some messing and go into a community. It doesn't make any sense. Accra High School, Accra High soldier for. So even in secondary schools, deploying soldiers into those communities, it's a really, really bad tendency.
You kill the morale of the police.
It's a really, really bad tendency.
You build a mindset as if they are second fiddle,
and I don't know.
They are actually the law.
I don't know some more information, and now they are using the military to even grab lands. Chado area when some of the soldier for the James Arsenal.
Now say some people have sent me messages in my inbox since I've started talking about this issue about for now this soldier for bro.
Yes,
people have sent me a petition to judge
soldier for
on this issue. We really have to be serious about the conversation. Retire. Say violence, idea high. Now military violence. I see ye fee. Can money a woman. Now that's why you use soldier for. To say she ain't sign and the neighbor say you won't be party. I say in a serious conversation about it. Many can say no can be say soldier for be movie no. Just a command if it's throw neighbor. Basically a parliament as my ye can be. One and the other.
What compensation?
So, idea even Mekai Tama, Speaker of Parliament, back when you can say I withdraw no military escort, no, can say even it is better for him impose I withdraw because the rate at which even critical office holders, na soldier for na momo ne binimu kura bag, anyway. If you are really very intent on guarding and securing the Fourth Republic, you be very careful in the situations in which you continue to deploy the military.
live on a 100.5. Ray, it seems Kwabena there so near time and it's Friday. Hoping someone, but many areas just 1 minute mess a telephone answer or more in front to him. We know you have archives. These issues about Kofor reconciliation. I think so. He should be providing a platform.
But he makes a very nice point, which is Bobie, the fact that as we sit here, we did a reconciliation commission that dealt with matters that are not as serious as this. I can tell you that. That somebody was asked to drink water from
dirty
the
water.
gutter.
Yeah.
And what kind of training do these people get? Because you see, the modern military also there was a U.S. soldier that went to Afghanistan, and he bought this knife, the knife that they threw.
Yeah.
And he decided to practice it on a young child. He threw the knife. It went through the boy's stomach, and he died. He's in jail as we speak.
Sharp.
Okay, he's in jail. So there are laws that govern people, and so I'm trying to understand under what training or under what command will someone go to a community, and a man who is paid by the taxpayer. That's what annoys me the most.
They don't respect
the people who are giving commands all over the place. Go and do this. Go and do this. At the end of the day, the deputy minister that is talking anyhow. At the end of the month, he draws his salary from the same people he's brutalizing and gloating over it.
Anyway, so I hope we'll provide more information on the reconciliation. We'll provide our platform. And lawyer, Vormawor, your platform where your person dedicated the cause in Ashaiman. That
No,
any day,
I think
anytime,
you should try. Give it some more space.
Our platform is for you. Any day, anytime you want to use this platform to communicate to the people. Yeah, the platform we
really appreciate it.
Yeah, so the bit me the abwa. I was saying, medium. Yeah, that's it. On behalf of CMG and Accra FM, I say why are there? Ray, CMG for so much. So about thank you so much.
Any day.
All right, live on Accra 100.5. Me run Nima kwa Juma my community. What is happening in Nima? Ma mingra nima na menkonko ye Juma ewo nima quick one na mensaimbra and we talk about so many things na ye dim komo a ye nim komo mfa ye communities no ho ye twen ma asem si Ansah ne yakobusa community nimpo unum se asha ma asem we baaye no afi na manfo kire ba bi e kwan ye na gata na asha ma kran develop ye and then for him so what is the point? And Honorable Omar Sanda Muhammad Nima Zona Council Chairman and Honorable Baba Alaji Nuhu Khalid Assembly Member Nima 441 and Chairman for Nima Community Development Committee. Me sure say Honorable Omar Sanda any okay. Chairman Akwaba. Yeah. And mame enko Baba Alaji Akwaba. Babalaji, so tell us what are some of the challenges? Nima ne those areas no Titrumu community. We are talking about community challenges. What are some of the challenges? Tell us.
Nedikama mfa kunya tsunami ntia Nima 4 more especially in electoral area Nima 441.
Nima 441 no one
Nima 441 no just opposite the Nima Central Mosque. Oko Kanda Highway no so. Just opposite.
Before baby I can be share if you
are a honey Nima 44.
Oh okay.
Baby I can't share me na me asabil ma.
We work Akra bi. Hey, ya bro. Alaji, ya just kuma. Hey. Alaji ko
yo enti me di entia ema me electoral area challenges bebre mpuntio education sanitation bibia security bibia
Alaji hold on momo osmo security challenge
of course
how tell me place that congested, obviously the rate of insecurity will be a little
because
high. Media Martin say, baby say 441, and I say Nima they were even an adjunct microphone, so you can't steal. Wouldn't mean we are there. I don't know security what you are talking about, but that's what Martin say. And yeah, baby, I bet me we are there.
Well, in terms of chrono there. Almost say me said me statement me put statement but the fact of the matter is in terms of within a tickling of an eye
okay so gangs you are talking about gangs
exactly
groups
exactly. For that one it is there and a major challenge say you bet me move and I say you eradicate some of these things because they pose as a security threat to the community. Again, so far in the face of sanitation, because of the population, so obviously the rate of friends saying faults
but honorable yes I'm bright to you. Gangs now or cano. Is it that so because working normally near to say say and to quite see one offer, it may trigger
exactly.
And down. And you know, what can I say? Where your boys so much gang at almost 2 and near my what?
For places like that, almost bees are almost etna and there. I can tell you, say almost every base in Ubeni will be over 2 and I say over 6 just for protection.
I see.
Yes. And it is something I always say ɔman security agency no Nima Divisional Police Command was say no a project to ensure say
wow
ye betimi ewini
wow
ye ho out of
but obi asend him say na say Nima police station om ko wia om CCTV amba
computers in fact the Divisional Police Command Office so that is the friendship problem Nima community no. Yes.
Sanitation
sani medical kind no obviously no sani the number of population in the community no soon said down so sa more of a slum and into ama the generation of waste no and the collection is very little. So
why little?
It's very little because assembly investment into sanitation no any that's huge. And the assembly collections are no at least twice or thrice a week. And filter generate BBI was say no on a daily basis, even Saturday, Sunday, because in Nima, you need Saturday, you need Sunday. Every day is busy day in Nima. In fact, even the weekends could are worse because some running I fraud, sona, and all those things, you know. And also, one of the areas are generating waste because Nipa be didi or more parks, any a honky kahuni nano a contributory factor in the waste management in the friends community. Waste is one of the major problems.
So waste, security,
and education. A community yenni secondary school.
Nima.
Yes.
Baba Jaja.
Nokura make a show.
Nima.
Yes. Yenni secondary school. And into the closest Accra Guest. Accra Guest is Nima Mamobi, which is Ayawaso North.
Okay.
Nima is a municipal on its own. Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly.
Okay.
So Yankwala omuko school no most no omuko Osu Salem, Osu Presby. These are areas omuko school. Unfortunately no omu crafty so omuko school dodo na enkodu school.
No are
diverted. So because distance no one inti ama parent no
inti
monitor and it is one of the problem at the assembly level to ensure that we have a community day secondary school much easier say akwala krani parents so oko school parent no with the working distance no can also come and supervise as an assembly no community no availability of land one obviously.
Oh, okay.
Again, request say there was some of the government schools conduct class for schools say the enrollment is very low. So if possible for some of the blocks and convert it in secondary school. Say as we speak, this is the stage you do say if it will be considered so that Yankwala no benya school within the community so that the supervision will also be there.
But your friend say Mustafa Hamid Kasa omo ba besisi high rise buildings so what happened?
Nima land and government land. So untumi kana sa trada keke
into a seda.
I don't know what motivated him to do that, but
Baba, yes. In case of friend, you only have to. In case of friend, we are many aketwa. Ti asema okay.
Na sa God no so be kana ke so oba. In some say na me tuja na muhunu say Ansah na me tuja.
But what the tuja no among for welcome the news.
Who welcome the maybe those from outside because tea inside no. Nim say Nima land no enye government land. Any state lander, you have to go you have to go negotiation with multiple landsowner. Multiple. If you be our your friend say Eura. Wajina wa turn asasi we see ni dying. And it is enyesa better say obeba because me
so let's do this exercise. Into a share the votes.
O share the vote. O share the vote.
That is terrible.
Yes.
That's terrible. Nima and Komono, I have said the pa is so unfortunate, but my member Omar, Alaji Omar, Sanda so. Alaji Omar. Momo side no one ever.
Maybe side no Nima Central.
Pachomo ni mgakra.
Yes, side no Nima Central.
Nima Central no
do Nima Market. Say Uka Gota.
Nima Market. Baby I want to Ujina no.
Yes.
Udwainam no. Almost see a tin.
Ah, that's Nima Research Electoral Area.
And some want to Udwaino.
That is my side. And
okay.
To say the me,
which is only from main mosque, no?
Yes.
Main
mosque in me electoral area.
Okay. And the kwa fro the last base of Moye TZ, no. That's what any them Bamobi.
Yes. Another electoral area who electoral area all in this the same community.
Okay.
To say the Amibra kind, but some kuna me say me correction was the security aspect of the Kasa or basis Nima yenina your basis or Nima uba Nima person young guys in our Uber basis, so many bases we have Hollandians, we have Los Angeles, we have You Two Can Fly, we have so many bases.
Okay.
And I ghettos. Wow. And they are all kind of ghettos as them.
Ghettos, okay.
They are almost to only sick kind ghettos as them. Wow, they are almost just team within the youth who are
base for no.
Okay.
The other say 441 say we twam amoya no motete da no like their omo bon komo no base.
Base. In fact, omo kura de obenya industrialists are
yes, business guys.
Yes.
No one have photo or
yes.
One have photo.
Yes. That base is no omo there obi an here say oya bad person na o kita to bibi for protection and other things. I don't know we kita to. What protection? One idiot.
Why you then?
So what you say?
Okay.
And they are almost shiwi. Meaning by no omotosu. You do be a collect say
exactly.
Is it 16 years?
17
years.
We are getting
no to
mobile
yeah. And can make say mama samechi. Now you boy in video. Amami. But short time now I see I late. Wow. That is why. Anti-security aspect of it, okay, sir, get to soon problem or no.
But Munkomo, I don't think say a serious. Baba, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Move to me a favor. Mon next coming, no, be facilitate move free well. Friday. Weekends I don't work. Next week I'm starting my show from Monday to Friday. Move me a favor. Ask your back near your time. 1 hour to deal with this matter.
Well, community service
I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad because my time is up. It's so unfortunate. My time is up. But my main straight here for my power. Baba Alaji Acho. My main Alaji Omar Acho. That let's sit down properly. Let's have about 1 hour, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes on this. Because issues now more raising here too serious. A be a year boboswa no penny for better be. Those ones they can help us to solve it, they will help us. Those we can't solve, probably we will leave it. Nima wo ho Sabi enye the one day but at least especially sanitation. Any cluster of homes and those things, we need to talk about it. Then we have a proper way of dealing with the matter. I'm so sorry. Alayuma.
Yes.
Let's have a proper conversation. Nyami Adma next week.
Inshallah.
Pacho, you promise here. You promise here. Okay, so let's promise ourselves. Let's do this. Okay. So all right. Okay. So all right. So next week you be share Alaji Omar and minimum said ne. mo aka say muko drum benya more information next week momra no na information be brave. Steven say what Assemblyman is saying is true. When I was driving a taxi driver or whatever in Nima, you pick a girl in uniform thinking she's going to school. Really? And at the end of the day, she'll get to La Paz and change herself and move to a different location. Yes. Okay, so you have a Menyavi, Steven. Or can be a tour there or confirm the work. So now Akoga Apana says so. Bobie asks Honorable Omar if Nima is not for government, why did Rollins decided to move them to Medina? Okay, so I don't know the history. I don't know.
Inshallah, next week.
Okay. You be being right. Okay, so that's it. That's okay. Thank you so much. And I see the brain and Kobamo. May that see the brain. Okay, so quick one. Maker was give us a bar center or more Ebeya Juma and Hase Friday evening, and of course. Yaya Jumani Bia se kasa ene meska enkame me kwam despite sika ke boso so me nam ti hei ma ya propra se eyi ma kasa sa me sha se tu kasa sa be pim sa amri na enkame kasa wie ya na enkam pani fa ya madum na enkam mo amam bibia sanka ye anambwa sebe ya prostate cancer nchimi oh, Mimu, Odi, my bread house one bread. I can't so many mate. I what if what if what didn't say, your friend say, Christian, your software America. What's your soft?
Apostle Cristiano Bon. Apostle Cristiano.
Hey, he said,
oh, Hannah, oh, my brother, take time. God's time is the best.
Hey, Christian Bon. I saw them call Arija on them. And I took Bruce, so they are from war. That's a Mr. Bobie.
Okay, or Jimon Coco.
So, or the switch them. Woman says, oh, to Andrew. Yala, who is that Yala? The coach.
On my team, and I say,
Robbie, no more bono.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you recruit.
Yeah, so.
Friday, who did
you? Sure. It was here, and then you may. Mama me fan chaka say enfama mo Accra 100.5 the citizen show so abra Commander Boham wa prepare chire ade ama me de ene abusia me sraw se medu wo me no ntem ansa na no nsia bebo ma de kase de ba bebre no de me sraw ye waso na tie me pa na nkomo me no wa bedi no ya de betumi ehia wo ye pa ne nyina no apomuden se na betumi abra na ebrani edon nyina no eya ahoden pa betumi awo ho na wedie no ene nipadua kwa no so no betumi agina brane ma ebrani edon nyina no ye betumi agina ena so ma ye nwuma hodo a yenum edi no so no eno so no etumi akonkan eye pa na se na betumi aboa ma nipadua no ne eye hunandua na fa na ntuma pa efra ma yare a ye kwankro ni aboro wo so ni ache wadwe no nti aseso no ebetumi akonti no eno nti na Givers Herbal Center me no kase yedi yankase yememu hahama eni ndubina yedi aye adru edi aba adwaman so yewie no FDA for ayemu enhwehwemu wo ma gya tum sampa eye yenje ene de yentumi fendi dwuma no ene enwumre ni ebre ni adon nyina no eye ayebo hu dewru ede ema wo enti no safe ene nso ne da wote yenka ewa Accra 100.5 FM so ewa the citizen show so an say Givers Herbal Center ene enwumre ye de enchiakese ede mamopa na ye wo Ghana manti mu ma bosumi eye Ghana bosumi na ye di Ghana bosumi nuane na ye hye Ghana bosumi eye nu entade ne akaka no na se ye pe Ghana enu panso no ne yetumi enom ezanze se odi aduane ne wie na hye atade pa ne wie na apomuden no enwie pe ya eya na enkankan enti misro nya ebibidro ene hahama a eno eti apo ma eno no enye matra makọ emekoso ma hwe na mom no we de pekin kran yare ko how wo call herbal shop wo call pharmaceutical shop and have a licensed chemical shop bia no wo kan ya won sa kan aduro na pe sa yare no e na ekosan ede ama wo na enwumre ma me ne wandi eye givers p capsules and have a givers co capsules e hon komo enfama wo Emma dodo na wo hon mo bega so me de matenka e wa akire oh me de me kofrom pa anase me kodi mpemu agora ene matenka de eya me nya bi kra mesro wo ye oba na sa hawi e wo so anase sa problem yi e ye wo problem a mesro be man so a e bia wo so akodonkwe anase wo kanchema ho kafo wo dofo e wo sa hawi ene odi betwi agbo so a o oba no so otimu ane so otimu o nkenya no ho na nkampa so opusu ne tadua mumpo e de ehia wo mesro bomode na ko herbal shop bia wo man kan mu hanomo empo amonone anyina obenya givers herbal center ye nu pa bi e wo honom na ga se wo mo givers p capsules and have givers co capsules mesro edro no ye fa ne mienu ade bomu ebra p capsules no emma watenka na emma emma eye teduemu aye den na omumpa so agoro etumi akonkan no na emma no so matenka etumi aben mu na omo so mutumi de hia emma no emma na ya mugemu mana ya akono na co capsules no ebo emma na etu kokoko no amaman ase a me no e ka se adwe enin e de aboso age asono de aboso age uminimu de aboso na osisi nso no eso mu se twitwe a wo je ho bia enje na empo etoda na me no e ka se waposo agene no enu nti na wonya givers p capsules and have givers co capsules na wano e de abom se na betumi aboa masa yarewa ni nyina no betumi etu ase enti wo ba mesro me no we ka se no e bia wo ampam agudie no anasa watenka asem wo fam no uhia givers p capsules and have any co capsules no na watumi ano no ma me no we ka se no ene enkrofo dawa wo mo fa edelpa edafili gadoji wo mo ekoso no wonso no betumi anya bi sanso na wo so ye bema na wo so de no wo de o watenka no pepepe na mo no me no wa ka se no o de boss a cheskere na se na wo se no trap na chibela na se wa chi break na oba na bisa na no adase we bie na no bisa se crash we wie papa ni outumi ye ya no de amesrew ye de nso ano na ba eno na ye givers p capsules and have givers co capsules mesra memfa kwati kwa mi so mema no enko keka nro bi mfremfremfra gaso na de me ko 10 rounds ko 5 rounds enne de obete de wochina obenya kira mane na mo opedu papa me no ka se ne enne obenom ochina obenya hoode daachi obegina so peme ne ebre nyina de a eno na ye hahama ene ndubina givers herbal center ye de abadwaman so eno na ye givers p capsules and have givers co capsules eno na so ye bema o premature ejaculation bema wo de boss wa wo nche na se wasane na wo ko no a mesro yare tu hwana mom bema nso wo erectile dysfunction ene wo de oba no obenunu ode na so be fa ko ho ayo stay biebi akwa bi nwum obo ye na se wo de he na we sini ti ase na se ferry aka no mesro bomode na kope givers p capsules and have givers co capsules eno na se wunya na wo no ma ebetumi abo ama o masem etumi agina so ene ade san de so mu kora hu kafo kwa na be fa fon o odo na ne de o mafie ye ntem na me twa o me pon kopentem ene o be wurawura ekesi etwa afa nche e de abo ani ene ne wapeja na se bibia no etumi akonka na ebre na edo nyina no enije etumi abafie na enkrofo maye omo intafo intasa ene intanan ni nyina no wonso wetumi enya bi ewo fie ko herbal shop bi eben pharmaceutical shop and have a licensed chemical shop bi anakoji u givers p capsules and have a givers co capsules no eno na betumi aboa na wonso akoko ni amaman etumi age widie no anasa honamdua no de aboso obi de oha wonani obepusa nani saa na fe de prunso na yese ko ene obi hia wo se ada wusu anasa sebi enkofo nubo ni wakakọ nunu bi enye saa eye koko ene ebre na edo nyina no na woni aye ko ane woso obi nso de ho a ewo ni minimu ene ebre na edo nyina no ye ya saa no obo ni minimu tontontonton na eso wo koso mesrew wedro aye givers co capsules and have givers p capsules eno ene betumi aboa ye pa obi nso de oha wona som ene agisa wenya paper gisa wenya pen top anase wenya dua bi wo fam ene odibenu na som saa na afede wo tonko ase bia quotation ena wo kai kai oni timi so enye sa obenwu ani sa afede odi ade akwa wo wasunu mu na afede wo ye drum no afede na tim kojo eno na yem pese be sintino bomoden na kope givers co capsules ena fe givers p capsules eno na sa unya na uno no ma okoko ni wa mama ya aju sisi di aboso ma me no we ka say no uyo oba watenka ewe akire unya atenka ye be ma so me ma sem wo fe wo be ma no ntumi gina ache untumi mfuru mpa ma ne nche no unya givers p capsules ena fe givers co capsules na ya de betumi aboa ye pa e ma ebre na do nyina no eni gie ne atenka de a ewo empemu feelings no wonso no obetumi enya bi ye pa enti ko herbal shop pharmaceutical shop ena fe license chemical shop bia na kope givers p capsules ena fe givers co capsules a efi givers herbal center ene yedi eba adwaman eso no ebi na ma me bisa so ba wutie mi be ma wonso wutie mi misram ennem yarewa ben eno akokofa ede ato ho so anase wunim ena aba wo so ema ene de utina se na wo sesen wedie no uye visibility studies wo wedie no mu ato nsa ampa wedie no se ne akane na etie no ene entesa sen na eya hunam da akwa no so no eya na egigigi ne ma bi editumo bia na wo de no eya infections no eya na edoso eninti ne empese bebo bidin na mom no wo ho na hwe onipadua no na wo sesen onipadua na hwe se na ebre ne edon nyina no udi efusane na akoba na mesro bo modern na ko herbal shop kro ya ko pharmaceutical shop na fe license chemical shop na ko pe givers GC mixture na fe givers GC capsules mesra edro wenso no banum ni mienu ade abom se na betumi aboa ma infections na fe de enemu yarewe bia no betumi atu ase eye givers GC mixture na fe givers GC capsules eno na se wunya na ono no ma ebetumi aboa ye pa enti wo yoba na abosumi ye beso ontumi emu nsa ema no nu nefu anson wo de no ba mienu miensa na etwa ne sero bomode se wantu hu anamo na wantu ase no anko akopa givers GC mixture na fe givers GC capsules na obo se mojefi na be ka no na fe de akwakotare wa wode no na se wefu no emu eno na behu na wefu adoa na ye kese na bo wanim na obi be ka se wonyim nso na bia enya nyinsen mesro bomode ne tu hu anamo ezanse yendo no enam se eye nimtri ni ankadwo awom no nu se ankadwo anamo ano eya na enane moja entebe nane sa moja firi nyina ma me no e ka se no wedie no tumi ada ho ema na asen ama na e kama na ebre nyina no unya ha ewo mfiti komu bia wonso de no eye yawdie ena womu anase se ne emma no wa no ntiri se sa yawdie no ewo mu ne e ka no eye menstrual pains na wedru eye ba kope eye hahama anim dubina ewo manka ne mu ene ye de afa abafu nim de kwan so ene ye de aye no de aba eno na ye givers GC mixture ena fe givers GC capsules unya na sa wono no ma ebetumi aboa ma me no e ka se no wapomuden no etumi ewie peye eye pa na wo yoba na mesra odie wahemfie ho anase sebi mesra wase enye dry da anase ho nye wese da se wunkodi mpemu agro anase onam na ensuo ta fififi ho a mesra bomode ne tu anamo oba de enton kopim sai wase befo anase ohun ebefo no agi se wudi mpemu agro na se wodi antesa ene wona na ensuo fi mi ta fififi wase na ane bi ta fififi sebi eye wo ba no mutesa akato a mesra bomode na kope givers GC mixture na fe ne capsules no eno na se wonum na onunum a ebetumi aboa ye pa emre he onunum na se ye awie pe ene bosoma no kon mienu akire obebisa se aden uye babu no ebra odofo anase ohun kani anase eye wade nyina beba onche se na aden oye obabu ana o se ane mepam che virgin onya aka se ane ya onni wachinye kura sansa hono mo beche ebeye kama ema ebre bia de bebo so no na se nije no etumi aba hono mo eye pa na oye bema na ebre bia no odunsa hye okotokomu na asa oye boga anasa obo life na enye life bia na ebo na mom no enso bia be google be ma no ho na wudwi na no eba be yetun a na se obe ma no saa na wo se no anasa insuo prekisini bi ta sense obe ma na no discharges bi to me bi baba mesro bomode na kope givers GC mixture na fe givers GC capsules na fe tutu sa enemu yarewa na fe de infections ni nyina ase ezansa se be ma de obe ma ho ante ma ho anye kama na ho anye tonton no